Hello. Did you ever think that your first car would be the biggest financial decision that you've ever made in your entire life? Did you think that that decision could have an impact of over $3.5 million on your retirement savings? Well, keep listening to the end, and I will go through some calculations that show how that decision can be the most powerful decision that you ever make in your financial career. Today, I'm going to go over things like depreciating versus appreciating assets, the power of compound interest, and then I'm going to dive into those calculations. So stay tuned, and here we go. So the first thing I wanted to discuss is a depreciating asset versus an appreciating asset. And frankly, what this means is as you own a car, over time, for the vast majority of cars, they will depreciate in value, meaning that when you sell them, they are going to sell for less than what you paid for them. But houses, on the other hand, and properties, for the most part, will appreciate, meaning that whatever you paid for them, you will likely sell them at a higher price. Same thing with some collectibles. So think about that when you're purchasing large purchases. Make sure that you're spending small dollars on depreciating assets and your bigger dollars on appreciating assets. All right, the power of compound interest. So this is probably the most important concept in all of your financial career. It's the power of compound interest and why you want to be on the positive side of that compound interest and not on the debt side. So if we invested $100 at 10%, after 1 year, that would be $110.52. But after 2 years, it's going to be $122.14. But keep with it, and then after 10 years, it's going to be almost triple. It's going to be $271.79. But here's where the real power comes in. After 40 years, it's going to be $5,456.82. So that $100 date or concert that you're about to go on to when you're 25 years old, if you instead took that $100 and invested it when you were 65, it would be worth $5,456.82. Now that could be a heck of a concert or a heck of a date when you're 65. So keep that in mind. All right, so now we're going to tie the two of these concepts together, and we're going to talk about one of the largest expenses when you're young, and that's cars. So this is by far the biggest mistake I see when I'm helping young people with their finances, is when they first get out of college, the banks are lined up to give them these large loans, $40,000 loan because they finally have an income and they may have low expenses because they're renting or things like that. And so banks are more than willing to give you a lot of money for your first car. But I'm going to give you two options for this first example. First example is a $40,000 car and a $10,000 car. So you graduate college, you want to get that new car, but let's think about it twice. And let's think about a much less expensive, maybe a 2 or 3 year used car that you can get for $10,000 to $12,000. I used 40 and 10 because they're nice round numbers. All right, so for these calculations, I'm going to assume that that first purchase, you're going to use that car for 15 years. Yes, I know it's a long time, but I speak from experience. I've owned cars for 15 years. Then we're going to look at just standard depreciation tables. So just a standard car, how much does that depreciate by year? Yes, it's going to depreciate more at the beginning and less at the end. Then we're just going to use a nice round number of 10% on our investments. It is a little bit high, but in the equity market, it is a reasonable assumption. And then we're going to assume that every time that you're ready to buy the new car, that you're going to trade in and you're going to get basically the full value of that depreciated asset, and you're going to apply that to your new car. We're also going to assume that you have $10,000 available from day one to purchase that first car. And then the next two cars, we're going to take that same 10K savings from your appreciation of your investments. So when you pay that $10,000, that's the last $10,000 that comes out of your pocket. Everything else will come out of investments. We're going to assume a 4% loan. So that is a little low in today's market, but it is still feasible. We're going to assume that you take it for a 4-year loan, and that comes to a payment of $677 a month for 48 months. Now, for the $10,000 car, since you took that out of pocket, that $677 is now going to be invested. And for the $40,000 car, it will be invested after you paid off that loan. So 4 years later, you'll start investing that $677. And I'm going to assume everything is constant in today's today's dollars, just to simplify this math for you. All right, so here we go. So on the left side, we see the $40,000 car. On the right side, we see the $10,000 car. So month one, that $677 goes towards the loan for that $40,000 car. But the $10,000 car, that goes right into savings. By the end of the month, you have $683. And the car value is worth roughly $10,000 because you just bought it. And now all of a sudden that depreciation is going to start hitting. So by month two, on the $40,000 car, another car payment. On the $10,000 car, another investment. The value goes up, but both of the cars start ticking down in value. And by the time you get to month 48, on that $40,000 car, you've now paid off the loan. So now we're going to start investing that money. The car is only worth just under $21,000. So we've almost lost half of our value. The same thing happened to the $10,000 car. It's only worth about $5,200, but we've now saved up $40,000. So we've already saved up the same amount in order to purchase that car on the right-hand side, but it's all in our investment and we still have a car. And now we're going to hold that car for another 11 years. So when we get to that 15-year mark, now that $40,000 car, it is saved up in a considerable amount of money. It's saved up $165,000, but the car value is now worth slightly over $4,000. $10,000 car, we've now saved up $288,000, and the car's worth just over $1,000, hardly worth any. But now we keep going for 40 years. So from age 22 to 62. And now after 40 years on the $40,000 car, we've saved up $2.5 million. But on the $10,000 car, we've saved up $4.45 million. So that's the power of that compound interest. So let's look at those results. On the right-hand side, you'll show the graphs and how that just escalates over time. And it's a savings of $1.9 million. Now, what can you do with that $1.9 million? Well, that is going to be equivalent to about $76,000 a year for the rest of your life. So just by doing that one simple thing in your life of purchasing cheaper cars, you're going to provide yourself with income of $75,000 a year for the rest of your life. All right, but many of you are out there saying, I can't hold on to a car for 15 years. That thing is going to be way too old. It's going to have way too many problems. I don't want to deal with it. Basically, every time I have paid off that loan, why not just go and buy another new car? I'll trade in the old car. I'll buy a new car because I still have that money from the loan that I'm not paying anymore. So I'll just pay it towards the new loan. And this is how many of you go through your life, is we just go from one car to the next car after the loan's paid off because you've set aside a certain amount of dollars in your budget to go towards the auto loan. So now we're going to do the same calculation, but on that $40,000 car, we're going to trade that thing in every 4 years. Now the $10,000 car, we're still going to hold on to that for 15 years. So it's really going to be a stark contrast. So now we're going to look at that same math on the left-hand side. All of it is the same, except for when we get to month 49, now we're going to be trading in that $21,000 car and we're going to be buying another new $40,000 car. So the car payment's going to be less because we have a bigger down payment. No longer is it $10,000, it's $21,000. So we're going to knock that car payment down to $429 and we're going to be able to invest that additional $248 into those accounts. So we're going to start accumulating some in those investment accounts. But when we get to that 15-year mark, we've only saved up about $60,000. But on the $10,000 car, all the math is still the same. We saved up $288,000 and our car's worth just $1,000 and we're about to get a new car, a new $10,000 car. All right, so let's expand that all the way to year 40. Again, 22 to 62 is now that $40,000 car person is only going to have $1.1 million saved up. But that 10K car person is still going to have that $4.45 million saved up. So again, now the stark contrast is even higher. And now the difference is over $3.3 million. So please look at this, consider this. But if you still don't believe me, just do it one time. So even if you do it just the first time in your career, because that first time is so much more powerful because of that compounding interest, it gives you the most amount of time for that investment to accumulate. If you just do it that very first car and you invest that $677 a month for 15 years, you're going to have that $288,000. Now take that $288,000 and just let it ride. Let it sit in that account and let it accumulate over time for another 25 years. Then you'll have $3.5 $1.5 million that you can spend in retirement. At a 4% withdrawal rate, that's over $140,000 a year by just doing it one time. That very first car that you purchase, I know that bright, shiny new car is calling your name, but look to the other car dealership and buy that $10,000 car and keep it for a very long time and start stuffing your investment accounts with all of that cash that you would have otherwise spent on that car loan. And I promise you, you'll be thanking me later. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe for more videos like it. Information provided in this video is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute financial, investment, tax, or legal advice. I am not your financial advisor, and you should consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions. All investments involve risks, including the potential loss of principal. Past performance is not indicative of future results. This video does not endorse any specific investment or strategy. By watching this video, you agree that I am not responsible for any financial outcomes based on the information provided.